Okay, that should be working.
There we go.
Hello, and welcome to another Purl Perspectives. We're the Purls. I'm Anahí.
I'm Allie. And I'm Carine.
And we're coming to you from Ottawa, Canada, in a surprisingly warm day for the frozen tundra that we live in.
Yeah. We've just come out of a polar vortex.
That's right.
Or at least have a little reprieve of the polar vortex.
And we are three friends who meet every couple weeks on camera to just hang out with you guys and talk about what we're making, what we want to make, what we like, what we don't like, our lives, our dog,
Bilbo.
and just other random stuff that we feel like talking to. So if you feel like having some company today, grab something to drink or something to work on and come on in and get cozy. And talking about something to do, I actually didn't find my project before we started. And I'll tell you what, it's because I wanted to work on my crochet, but the pattern for my crochet is on my phone, which we're using as a camera.
So
that's I can't do that one.
I can see how that would pose an issue.
So I'm going to let you guys get started, and I'm going to look for my muscle bra, because I don't know where it is.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
That's okay. At least your whip wall is conveniently right behind this. Is this a fiddle leaf? Fiddle leaf?
It is a fiddle. It's a fiddle leaf thing.
Conveniently right behind
Quite
us, so it's not
convenient,
like she's got to go far. But, man, I gotta say, I gave myself a goal at the beginning, like after the Christmas holidays when I came back. I was like, I'm going to sit down and I'm only going to work on whips. I'm not going to work on anything new until February. And I'm going to smash out some of these whips. I have not succeeded yet. I have not finished anything.
But you've worked on them.
Yes, I have worked on 3 of my whips out of like 11. I've worked on 3 of them. And I have made progress. But I just really want to finish something so bad.
Yeah,
so that I can
understand.
start something new.
Right.
But you know what? I'm an adult. I can start anything new whenever I want. But, like, I just want to finish something.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's the validation of, like, having a finished object, right?
It doesn't help that, as you may have guessed, I was sick. I'm still very congested, though the cold has passed. And I spent pretty much the majority of the last week sleeping. So it's kind of hard to knit and sleep. I have not yet mastered that art. Maybe one day. Maybe, like, I've been knitting for almost 15 years. Maybe in another 15 I'll master the art of knitting and sleeping.
Oh, but, or, like, what is it, like, instead of sleepwalking, it's sleep knitting.
Sleep crafting?
Yeah, sleep crafting. You
that
just
would,
wake up and you start doing it in your sleep.
Sleep crafting.
So technically you're not awake.
But until then, I'm just going to keep plugging away at my socks. At least I have, like, I've got one done and I'm on the foot of the second.
Nice.
So, like, I could finish this sock sooner rather than later. But we'll get there. Slow and steady. There's no rush. I'm not making them for anybody, so, you know.
I'm trying to read the comments.
I love it.
The way I said I wouldn't buy more yarn in 2025, and I've purchased at least 2 new sweater quantities last week, lol. You know what?
Join
you
the
know
club.
what? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I keep telling myself that I'm not going to buy anymore, and then something comes across that I have an excellent vision for, and then it just joins the ranks.
Exactly.
You gonna come up on my lap?
The pretty yarn just looks at you.
There we
Hello,
go.
Bilbo.
Oh, hey, buddy.
How's it going?
He's picking his spot.
Hi.
What's happening?
He just comes over and says, "Hello, is it okay if I kiss you on the mouth?"
He doesn't actually say, "Is it okay?" He just does it.
He just does it. He's yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
so
buddy.
great. It's so great.
It's so good.
Hello. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Okay, he's chosen a spot right on my
His
lap.
throne.
His throne.
So
That's
cute.
so true.
Look at that face.
I found my muscle bra.
Yay!
Where was it?
It was in my work bag.
there we go.
Unsurprisingly. Yeah.
It is a good transit project.
Do you
that's for
guys
sure.
take your knitting to work?
Oh my god,
100%.
yes.
I always have a knitting project in my
100% I
bag.
do.
Yep.
Well, here's the thing. I am in meetings probably half of my day every day.
Oof.
I know. It's a lot. Like, people in my organization really like to discuss things and make decisions over meetings. And I'm just getting accustomed. I've gotten accustomed to having a knitting project in my hands because what else am I going to do sitting there for 3 hours? And I find that when I'm working on something simple like the muscle bra, I actually don't get distracted by clicking away and checking my email at the same time or, doing something else. So it actually helps me pay better attention to what I'm listening in the meeting and participate meaningfully. But I'm still a little shy about it, so I like hold it below camera level.
Did you know this is the reason why a lot of students doodle in their...
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like,
because it occupies.
it used to be like seen as a bad thing, but people are realizing now that if you like, if kids or like anybody who's in school like doodles or whatever on the margins, it's usually like it helps them assimilate the information more.
There's something about using your hands.
Yeah.
That really frees up space in your mind.
Yep.
I tell myself it's a sign of intelligence.
You do?
My mom used to say this thing to me when I was younger because I would not necessarily have trouble paying attention, but my brain would always go in like multiple directions at a time, and she would just say, oh my god, what was it? I'm like fully blanking on it now. She's like, your brain's just really fast, Allie. So like if you have to do two things to slow it down to match everybody else, that's okay. And
that's
was like,
a good point.
Okay, yeah. So
yeah.
You know,
you're going at a little faster speed than everyone else.
And then, then you grow up and you're like, oh, neurodiverse, I get it. Okay, I got it. Things make sense now. But
if somebody's saying, no lie, I used to play solitaire on my classes because it was hard. It was so hard for me to focus on
the professor.
The professor just droning on, and I totally understand
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never been a doodler, but I'm a fidgeter.
Yeah.
So
I was definitely a doodler.
I did the thing when I was in undergrad where I signed up to be a note taker for students who couldn't take their own notes. So that A, it would force me to go to class, and B, it would force me to like concentrate, because if I was concentrating on typing every single word in full, then it was taking up all of my brain, and I wasn't going to get distracted and wander off. So, anyway, that was just a weird
is it
cool, fun thing.
All right, is it also because in my experience, it's because I get a little bit annoyed that conversations in a work meeting aren't going as fast as I would like them to.
Oh, yeah.
And people take too long to make their point.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm one of those people that like beats around the point endlessly until I'm satisfied with what I've said. So I'm also guilty of doing that. But if I don't have something on my hands, I'm gonna wander off.
No, man.
I'm gonna physically be there, but mentally, not.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm the person in the work meeting who's like, anyways, so let's circle back. Because, like...
thank God for you.
Because
I never speak up at, like, meetings. To be fair, the meetings usually don't have anything. Like, I just sit back and listen to whatever they have to say.
Yeah.
And I do the same thing you do, where I'm just like, once I went to one of my first meetings I didn't have my knitting with me because I wasn't sure how appropriate it was. And then they gave us a break at like halfway through, and I was like, I need knitting because I don't remember anything that just happened. And then the second I came back, they were like, oh, you're like afterwards they were telling me you're fidgeting less. Like you feel like you're more engaged. I'm like, yeah, because my hands were busy.
Yep.
Oh, Lexi actually crochets on camera, and it's gotten to the point where now people are asking
for things.
Yeah, what you
are
making?
asking them what they're doing.
Yeah,
okay.
And I love that, Lexi. I want to also normalize crafting or crocheting or knitting during meetings, and I think the more we do it, the more normal it will become. So yeah, maybe I'll start pushing it up on camera, opening my meetings like, hello and welcome, and this is what I'm working on today. What are you using?
What are you doing
to prevent you from distracting yourself from this meeting?
See, I use my knitting at work also like as a reward once I finished a task. So like if I've done something that was, because my work is very much on the computer and very, very much like mental.
It happens up in here.
So it's draining. So after like whatever amount of time, whenever a part of the task is done, for me, like to just knit one row is kind of like enough to calm the mental aspect or the the struggle, and then like because it's almost like meditation because it's so like it's so mechanical.
Totally.
I'm not listening to anything. I'm literally just knitting
you
one row.
Disengaged your brain for a minute.
Exactly, and I love doing that.
That's good.
I love that you reward yourself with an activity that you like.
Oh yeah, if I didn't have that, my days would drone
I usually reward myself with a little treat, with a little sweet treat. I'm like, That was so good. I'm gonna get another latte today.
My office is located perilously.
Perilously?
Thank you. It's scary close to a place where we can buy a lot of ice cream and snacks. And so we'll get to the 3:00 and everybody will just look around and we'll be like, we adulted too hard today. Do you want to go for Sundays?
Heck yes.
See, for ice cream, 100%. I would do it all the time. For coffee, never.
Well, you don't drink coffee, bud. I'm a slut for coffee, I have to say.
I'm one of my favorite coffee stories is or anecdote is when I used to work my first job in the city. There was a strike, OC Transpo strike, and we had to be at work super early. Mm. And I showed up. It was 5:45 when we showed up to work. And my boss shows up one day and she's like, "Don't you want coffee or something?" And I literally just looked at her and says, "This is what I look like at 6 a.m. in the morning without coffee. Are you sure you want to see what I look like with coffee?" She just walked away and never asked again.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, you gotta know yourself.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is a little mini good segue. It is, as of the 21st of January, our first anniversary here on YouTube.
Yes, it is!
Happy anniversary to
We've
us!
been doing this for a year. There's 20-something videos. Wow.
Wow.
I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with our commitment here.
Seriously.
Yeah. Oh, buddy.
So I thought it would be nice to take a second and just reintroduce ourselves.
Awesome.
Because there's 127 subscribers on this channel.
There's
That is
127 people that want to hear what we want to yap about.
Which is
I
a
know,
lot.
I'm surprised.
So, thank you for being here, friends. And if
it's really him they want to see.
Yeah.
No.
It's really
Bilbo's
Bilbo.
the star of the show.
Bilbo's
Bilbo
the
is
star.
the king.
But I thought it might be nice to just take a second and reintroduce ourselves.
Do you want to get us started?
Sure. Okay. Well, folks, my name is Allie. I don't know why I just did hair flip.
It looked great.
So
I think I fell in love a little bit.
my name is Allie. I am your resident heritage and history-loving scientist. I've been knitting for about 15 years. I know the very basics of crochet and embroidery and cross stitch, but I'm not super proficient at them, but that's okay. I'm only 32. I have another 60-something years to master these crafts. I'm a big lover of jewel tones and bright colors and cables and texture and lace, and I am a slut for anything mohair and wool combo. Give me the fuzzy sweater. Just do it.
Love it.
Love that. I am also, for the people at the back, a biracial Canadian who's chronically ill, and that really does inform my identity and my politics and the way I move through the world. So, yeah, that's me. That's Allie.
Pass the ball. Pass the ball.
Pass the ball. Ball.
I'll take the ball.
Okay, you take the ball. Yeah.
Hi again. I'm Anahí. I like to go by Annie. I am your local immigrant. Very spicy, a little bit brown, and I like all things fiber. So I'm more of a fiber art collector. I always say that I'm a starter and not a finisher. Another term that I like to connect with is jack of all trades. I like to do a little bit of everything semi-well, but I have no interest in perfecting any one craft. So I just like to dabble and experiment and try them all. I started crocheting and knitting when I was 6 years old, and so that means I've been doing some sort of fiber craft or during my life for probably over 30 years. I'm 37 now, so and I've never stopped.
Yay!
Some things about me. Outside of my fun times, I have a day job as a climate change educator. My background is in hospitality, and I have a lot of education in people soft skills, and I'm currently using them to try to save the planet. It's hard because people don't want to be educated about climate change, but I teach them anyway.
Yep.
Hey, all you
work.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
You do what you can.
Yeah. What else? Some demographic markers for me is I am queer and triple disabled. I have some invisible disabilities that make my life a little bit more difficult, but also kind of more interesting. And I've recently been diagnosed with a chronic disease. So that's been fun. I'm on a journey to remember to take my meds, which is not great. But I'm learning, and I have a great support. I've been living in Canada for 10 years now, and I found these two gals, and they stuck to me like Velcro, and I love it.
She's never getting rid of us.
Yeah, no, she's stuck with us
never
forever.
getting rid of us.
I'm pretty much addicted to coffee, like I said before, and I'm a slut for texture.
Amen.
That
If
is,
it's textured, I'm gonna make it. Yeah.
and then touch it.
And then
But
rub
like it's
it,
just
like,
so nice to like feel like just the lace and
yeah, it's just I feel like texture is just it's like curvy like me.
it scratches the itch in your brain.
It scratches the itch. It's easy to make.
Yeah,
you don't need a pattern to remember it.
Yeah.
And I just like floppy items with a lot of texture.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about soft
And also
noodles.
socks. I made these socks, and they're amazing. Ball.
Oh, thank you. I'm Carine. I'm your resident French Canadian. So bonjour à tous les Québécois et Québécoises ou Franco-Canadiens qui nous écoutent. What else? I started knitting about, I want to say, maybe 6-7 years ago now. I'm relatively new-ish when you think about it. I'm the kind of person that dives into something without really thinking. So my first project was a full-blown cable sweater. I regret nothing.
It's so beautiful though.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful though.
I
said,
love
"Fuck the
cable.
scarf."
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I literally said because I couldn't do it. I don't have the patience for this. I love cables, all things cable. I am a slut for alpaca.
Mm-hmm.
Baby
Like,
alpaca.
Can't confirm.
Specifically baby alpaca, but any alpaca. That's like my favorite fiber to work with. I will like die wearing all my alpaca, like buried with all my alpaca yarn. Sweaters. What else? I'm a sewist, or try to be anyway. Gardener, avid reader of all things that I can get my hands on.
Mm-hmm.
I teach. I'm a translator by trade, but I also teach translation.
She's really good.
Demographic wise, there's not much. Like I'm just your average white chick. I don't know what else to say.
Great movie.
The one thing I can't
love
say
you so much.
I was just I was diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 7, so I was actually I was the first person in my school to ever be diagnosed with ADHD. So
We have that in common.
they had never seen ADHD before.
Really?
When I showed up. So,
Oh.
thanks to my mom's effort to educate the school back then, I am older than I look. So yeah, I was my first. So I was very lucky because it kind of like taught me so I've never been medicated for ADHD, and I think the reason why is not only because my mom refused to. She was like, no, she's fine. And it wasn't like she doesn't want to acknowledge it. She knew I could like handle it. To be fair, my case is not as bad as other people sometimes. Like I feel like sometimes other people can, have it worse than others.
For sure.
It's definitely a spectrum. But at the same time, she like, because I was diagnosed so young, she made me like learn like
Coping
how to cope with
mechanisms?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to cope with it.
love.
Like, so I obviously you learn your own stuff too, but yeah, for me it was literally becoming like the, what do you call it? Like the jack of all trades at school. So
Yeah.
like whenever they needed a kid to do something, I was like and it was like all stupid, like the stupidest things, including taking care of baby ducks. When I was in high school.
Baby ducks.
Yeah, we did.
That's so cute.
For like 1 year, and then we had to give them back to the farm. But for that 1 year, I took care of the 4 baby ducks, and I was so fucking happy about it.
So cute. All my school got was like they gave us eggs and tried us like don't break the egg for a week.
We did the sugar bags as babies at the
Oh.
high school that I went to here.
Well,
How
like,
big of a bag?
Like the 2-pound bag.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, but I switched schools before I got to that grade, so I never actually had to do that experiment.
well, we did. So we
yeah.
did the egg thing, but like the baby ducks was like not for everybody. It was literally just 4 baby ducks, and they needed somebody to take care of it. And they're like, "You weird person who likes to do all the things, come!" And like they told me to do it.
Yes, let's go.
I was not the only
You
one.
needed
There were
ducks?
2 other girls who also helped, but like it was kind of like one of those. You do whatever, you do whatever the principal or vice principal tells you to do, and
The teacher in charge.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's me.
Allie, I have a question to
Yes,
ask you.
absolutely.
Would you say that when you were in school, you were teacher's pet? It's a safe space. We're just amongst friends here.
I don't know if I would say that I was teacher's pet so much as there's no way I can say this without disparaging my past self. But it's okay. You know what? We live, we learn. I was a kid that was obsessed with being first in everything that I could, to the point where when I was in first grade, my parents went to my teachers and were like, do not let her be first in line. Do not let her to be first finished a test. Do not let her be anything like this.
What?
And so I made it my mission to be second in everything.
Oh my god.
You know?
Why would they impede
Just out
you
of
like
spite.
this?
You know what?
Was it like starting to be
We
a
should get my
problem?
mom on the podcast. She'd have a lot to say about my childhood.
Susan!
So I wouldn't say that I was teacher's pet, but I was one of those kids that was like absolutely voraciously curious. I wanted to know everything. I wanted to know how everything worked, and I wanted to have all of the answers. And so I was the kid who, whenever there was like a question, I was the kid that was like all the time. I didn't necessarily, well, looking back, I don't think I cared if I wasn't picked. I just wanted people to know that I knew the answer.
Oh, yeah. So it was like a child validation situation.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I'm sure when I go to therapy and I work through this, there's going to be a lot of things that therapist will say to me about that. But you know what? I've gotten to the point now where I don't seek out that validation. I don't feel like I need it, which is good. I wouldn't say I was the teacher's pet, but I did want to be helpful in every way that I could, and I wanted to know all the answers. So maybe a little bit more of like a pain in the ass of the teachers.
Got it.
I was actually both.
You were a pain in the ass and the favorite.
Very much so. So before the diagnosis, I was very much a pain in the ass because they didn't know what to do with me. And I was like, to say how bad I was, like I would literally, like if I didn't like the teacher, I would make it my mission to like be bored in their class and show them I was bored. I was not a good person. Like, I feel anyway. Because, like, I remember specifically 3rd grade once we had a teacher that was there, like, no, 4th grade, who was there to replace, like, just as a substitute. And I got bored. So I took my chair, flipped it upside down, literally upside down with the 4 legs up, turned it around towards the window, sat down. And then when the teacher asked, what's your problem? I was like, well, this looks more interesting. And then, of course, I was sent to the principal's office. Wow. Then I was diagnosed. And then they're like, yeah, she needs, like, discipline and structure. And then the for some reason, the teachers I remember the most and the ones who loved me the most were the, like, really hard ones. Yeah. Because they tended to know how to, like, focus my energy. And then my favorite of all time was also a teacher with ADHD herself. So it made a lot of sense. Like, for her, she's like, I know how to handle you.
My homie got it.
I got
Homie got it.
Yes, she did. She was awesome, though. She left for, like, half the year because she was adopting kids.
Oh,
yeah.
Fine. That's awesome.
So she had to leave. But then when she came back, I was like, I love you so much. I kept in contact with her afterwards, all the way through high school. Her husband was actually one of my teachers in high school.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it was funny.
Amazing.
I think I was teacher pet, and I loved it. I wasn't like a star student, although, again, because of neurodivergence, I had a good school record.
Yeah.
So it was always like kind of up there. And it was never my intention to be number one, but it was always my intention to be the center of attention.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a performer since I was born. So anytime the teacher needed the board erased, I would volunteer. If there was an activity, I would be first. I was like the first one to come back from recess. Anything except for sports.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I was there. I wanted to, like, help the teacher do her job. Or his or their job. I don't know why. And maybe that part of me, like that need to be helpful and be part of the facilitation, you know, that is what led me to, like, now be an educator in general. And so I don't think it was a negative thing to be a teacher's pet. I did, however, get a lot of those, like, parrot stamps that said, won't shut up in class. I'm paraphrasing.
Can you imagine it's actually...
Did you guys have that here in Canada? In Mexico, we had, like, multiple different stamps. And the parrot one I got a lot.
Not that I can think of. But we definitely had, like, when you got your report cards, your midterm report cards, and there was, like, the teacher's comments.
Yeah.
There was always the, there were so many years where I got like, Allie is very chatty, or like Allie always has a lot to say.
Well, she does.
Which in some cases wasn't always a good thing. In other cases was. But
I think for me it was actually the opposite, because even though I was like technically hyperactive and like, you know, a lot of energy and all that stuff, I didn't speak much. I was not a popular kid at all. So I tend to like just, so my report cards, usually the biggest comments I had was, she's very disorganized. Like, and it was funny because they all said the same thing. She has good ideas, or she understands the material, but she, like, the way she presents it, or the way she brings it back is very disorganized, which is very much how my brain functions. But I was very different than I am today. Like, I was very quiet and I stuck to myself.
So interesting when we talk about our experiences growing up and even our experiences now, because as you've said, the two of you have ADHD. I don't. My neurodivergence is different. I have like crippling anxiety. I grew up with epilepsy, so my experiences are different. But
I love that we have this different cocktail on
like,
conditions.
It's just so interesting to hear like your experiences and then look at mine and be like, in many ways they're really similar, and in many ways they're so different.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know in your case, but in my case, my ADHD is combined with depression and anxiety. And so I feel like some of those keep others in check.
Oh, interesting.
Right? So I've always lived this really balanced life of ups and downs. And I feel like I can navigate them. I can navigate now trusting, quote unquote, my gut feeling, which is just my neural reaction to stimulants and stressors in my life, is what I consider to be my intuition or my gut feeling. And I'm really thankful to have that, because I feel like stress and anxiety is a survival, or like a human survival trait. And if anything, I'm just keeping myself from potential danger, maybe a little bit too cautiously, but I don't regret it. You know, it's really funny. It's really funny to do that. I think I went from being an extremely open, center of attention child to slowly moving towards the center of the range, and now I consider myself an ambivert, which is I can be very social and be energized by social interactions, but the threshold of that happening is shorter every year. And so if I'm spending a full day of socializing, I need like equal or double the amount of solo time to potato.
And it's interesting growing up too in a family where you might necessarily be like, in my family at least, I'm the only one who functions this way, similarly to you, where like I need recovery time after being incredibly social. But I come from a family of extreme extroverts, so it's really interesting to like go from spending time with them and just being always exhausted, happy but exhausted, to coming over to here and being like, oh, I'm rejuvenated just by sitting on the couch with the two of you, because we're all kind of in that same mindset. So find your people, folks.
I
think when we talk about being introvert or extrovert, it's very much a spectrum again, because
for sure.
When I was younger, I was very, very introverted, insanely introverted. And then as I grew older and I found people that I could connect with, then I became very extroverted with them. Nobody else, just them. And then afterwards it was kind of like a more of a balance in between. So I'm kind of like in the same space. And I think it also comes with age, right? Eventually any social interaction, no matter how extroverted or introverted you are, takes a toll on you that it didn't when you were like,
and it's incredible how after the last couple of years of lockdown and everything and burnout, how that really changes your body's balance.
Man, burnout really did a number on
situations. Like, woof.
Yeah, and like the chat is saying, like it can lead to chronic fatigue.
And 100%. That's my experience.
You're right. It sort of kind of comes with age, where our social battery kind of depletes a little quicker, you know?
And I think it's also one of the reasons why people eventually just say, like, you know, have like these like thoughts of like moving somewhere in the middle of nowhere, not interacting with people, or why people actually do it, not just say it, but actually do it. And I feel like that's the thing. But when you are with good, I want to say like your people, your like the good ones for you, the ones that work for you, then you don't really have that feeling anymore.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah, like I mean, if I were to go in the middle of nowhere, I would do it with the people, not just by myself. You know what I mean? Like, it's no longer a thing of I just want to like because I would want at some point, like when I was younger, I would think about like, oh, one day I'll just be a hermit in the forest or like in the mountains or whatever. And I'm like, no, I would do it with my chosen family.
Oh my God, I could never be off the grid somewhere away from civilization. I'm too much of a city mouse.
No, see, like
I
said,
the museums, I need the shops, I need the coffee places, I need the stuff.
A little bit outside of the city, not the suburbs. Fuck the suburbs. I don't like the suburbs. I do not like them.
Agreed.
I find the concept annoying. I want like country, but like close enough to the city that like, you know, a hospital ride is like 20 minutes tops. So like, you know, but then when I'm still in the countryside, I can have chickens. I can have like a little garden. I can have like, I don't know, goats and
you want some
alpacas.
Acreage. You want an acreage.
Right? Yeah. So I can make my own yarn and
I mean,
I want to be self-sufficient.
I love that. Self-sufficiency is something that is like really romantic for me to think about. But I think I was telling you guys yesterday, my current position is if Uber Eats doesn't go there, neither do I.
That's a good.
But
that's a good metric.
What if we have like good food we can provide for you?
Yes. You know what? And in that case, if you want to become my Uber Eats, that would be great. But what I'm saying is I'm a creature of comfort.
Yes.
And I really enjoy the comforts of urban living.
Yep.
That is very true, though. There are, like, there's advantages and disadvantages to both, I find.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's obviously cities where most people are. Everything is accessible. You don't necessarily need to have a car if you have a good transit system.
Hot topic. Hot topic.
What? But at the same time, the countryside gives you like closer to nature. You get to be a bit more self-sufficient. You get to, you know, like be a bit more independent and like so. There's
true.
There's advantages and disadvantages.
There's also something really nice about learning to homestead, like learning to preserve food and like. For me, something that's really heartwarming is mending things, fixing things, mending clothes, making clothes. Yep. I love that. So if I could do that more intentionally as part of like my livelihood, I would definitely do it.
Yeah.
I think maybe what we need to do is again, the commune topic comes. I think it comes up every episode. Every few episodes, we're like, we just should start a commune. And I think the key is to get together with friends and loved ones who have compatible interests, right?
Yeah.
So, like, Ali, I know that you love inventorying and cataloging and data keeping. That would be really helpful in a homesteading
thing. Itch in my brain.
Yeah.
You love gardening and animal keeping. Yeah. And I
love... Oh, you're a farmer.
And I love nesting. Like, I love, making places cozy and, cooking for other people, making socks, etc. And entertaining, like setting up entertaining social things. So I think we would make a good start, but we still need someone who's, for example, has interests in tinkering with machines and...
That's literally my job.
Carpentry, building stuff. Someone who is willing to take care of the composting toilets, things like that.
That's outside my purview.
Yeah,
I don't do gross smells.
If you are interested in poop, reach out to us.
In like 25 to 30 years. 25 to 30 years. We still have careers we need to finish.
Way to tell people, like, way to attract people. If you're interested in
You want to know something funny, though? So the Canadian Science and Technology Museum here in Ottawa has had, for the last several months, an exhibit all about the science of poop. Oh. And it has been their most visited exhibit in the history of the museum.
That is so cool, though.
So there are people out there.
So there are people.
Interested
There's
in
one interactive where you can, like, fart and it'll analyze your farts.
What do you mean, analyze?
Like, it'll tell you how much methane and whatever. And I haven't visited it yet, but it's like, it's just hilarious to me that it's been their most popular exhibit. I shit you not. I was holding on to that one. I was holding on to that one. Anyway, that's a thing.
Wow.
If you're in the Greater Ottawa National Capital Region, Ottawa area,
come learn about poop. How dumb.
And then use that knowledge to come and join our commune afterwards.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep. You're welcome. You're welcome for that little tidbit.
That was a tangent I didn't expect
Took a
us
little
to go
turn.
on. Yeah.
Took a little turn.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
This is kind of like a slice of life of what you can expect if you come to Knit Night with us. Because we host Knit Night once a week here in the downtown area, or like close to downtown Ottawa. Salut Marie-Elise! Bienvenue! And if you come to Knit Night with us, you will quickly find that conversation, first of all, ebbs and flows.
Oh yeah.
It's like a roller coaster
And
every time.
then there's like multiple conversations going on at the same time.
Exactly.
And then we converge and then we go apart again. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it gets really loud and then it gets really quiet.
I have started employing
and then it gets emotional.
The preschool teacher method of just like sitting at the end of the table and going, shh. And everybody like the volume drops. But not in like an angry shush way, but in the like it tickles the back of your brain. And,
exactly.
Like,
hold on, I need a sip of water.
It actually works really, really well.
But you never really know what the conversation is going to be. And that's what I love about it, is that you're not like, we can literally spend an entire 2 hours talking about yarn, or we can talk about nothing that has to do with yarn. Or anything in between.
We bounce around.
Yeah, pretty much.
We really do bounce around. I think last time we were sitting close to each other, Carine, the people, like, there was like a cluster of maybe 5 people in that corner of the table. And we went from talking about mushrooms to shrimp, and then agriculture, and then we went on to video games, and then about polyamory relationships, and then about like fatherhood and daddy issues.
Oh my god!
And I remember just
I was on the complete other side.
Yeah, I was at the other end of the table.
Feeling like up and down and so interested and just fascinated by all of the interesting people with interesting knowledge that come to Knit Night, and they just like let it out so easily.
The last time I was at Knit Night,
missed last week and I'm missing it already.
Aww.
I know. I missed last week as well because I was sick. But the week before that, when I was there, I was sat in a corner with some newer folks to Knit Night, and we spent a good 40 minutes talking about the intricacies of making friends as an adult, and it was really illuminating.
Because it's hard.
It's really hard.
Okay, what's like your top takeaway from that convo?
So the 2 new people that came were a couple, and one of them was in school, and the other one was working full time, and they were saying that they were having a hard time managing their expectations in terms of meeting people outside of the work and school setting, because they were like, oh, we've moved to this new place, like we should not have a problem meeting people, blah blah blah. But then they found all of the people they interacted with were in their work circle or their school circle, and they were like, but we want to have lives outside of that. And so then they were like, okay, well, you have to manage the energy expectation of like joining a rec sports league or taking a pottery class or doing whatever, and like just how much of a emotional and mental investment it is,
and physical
investment it is to put yourself into a space where you can then go ahead and make friends as an adult. And it was just this really, really interesting and like open and vulnerable conversation about how hard it is to like make friends to begin with, and then because of all of our responsibilities, maintain friendships as well. And it was, I don't know, it was just really beautiful.
I think
so they were both really, really excited that like Knit Night was something that they could come to semi-regularly.
Yeah.
That they could meet people, excuse me, and build up those friendships in a way that didn't have that like extreme physical, mental, emotional energy commitment.
Yeah.
Because it was already something that they loved doing.
But maintaining a relationship is, in my opinion, the harder, like it's almost harder than to make new friends sometimes.
Yep.
But I think you're...
And like and like we're seeing in the chat, it's hard, but it's also sometimes a financial burden because, and we've said this on the podcast before, there are no spaces in cities anymore when people can just go for free, other than a park,
the library,
and there's like social limitations, like parasocial limitations that would prevent me from feeling safe and comfortable approaching anyone in a park. Like I would not go there to make connections because it doesn't feel safe anymore in the world that we live in. But if you want to go to any like recurring things, like, oh, I want to join this group that goes to happy hour every Wednesday. But but I don't think I want the financial burden to pay for alcoholic drinks every Wednesday.
And then sometimes you just don't drink, so that's
and sometimes you don't drink. Or like if you join a league, there's a fee to join a league, and then you have to like buy equipment and buy the uniform for the league or whatever, or you have to pay for special like clothing, etc. Like things cost money, and if your only intention is to make friends, sometimes you're out of money and out of friends.
Yeah.
It's rough.
It's rough.
It's like, I think we forget that it was so much easier in school because we were all in the same boat,
we were all
trying
in
to
that structure.
Exactly. Versus now when you're at work, it's or any other, like it's different because not everybody wants to be your friend. Not everybody should be your friend.
That's the thing, right?
And again, it's like that divide. I have nothing against my coworkers. I don't want to hang out with them when I go back home.
Okay, I had an interaction with a coworker last year who, in conversation, was like, oh, let's do this thing. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm going to be out of town with some friends. And they responded with, what are you talking about? All of your friends are going to this other event. And I was like, no, I have friends outside of work. And their response was, why would you do that?
What?
And it's just like, it was...
What do you mean, why would you do that?
It was just one of those moments where I was like, I keep my work life and my personal life separate for a reason.
And this person doesn't. This person...
And there's nothing wrong with that, but it was
it's
just
such
like...
a strange
it was
thing
just
to
one
say.
of those moments where it was like, oh, I had to be reminded that people work their relationships and their dynamics differently than I do.
That's
so it was
true.
a good eye-opener for me.
Yeah.
But it was just... it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, I forgot that my way of doing things isn't the only way of doing things.
And it's kind of like what you were saying, this couple was mentioning is... you have to adjust your expectations as an adult on how making friendships works, or what kind of relationships will work for you. Because I don't like to categorize people in tiers, in tiers of closeness to me. That's not something that's pleasant for me to do. But I can tell you exactly the moment I thought that the three of us were going to be friends.
Oh,
exactly the moment, and it was when. I forget who, I think it was you, suggested that we went to Wool Time, which is a giant yarn warehouse here in Ottawa. Great. And you proposed that we did that on a day that was not a scheduled knit night. And I felt like, oh my God, I actually do want to do this. I want to spend more time with these people, and they're inviting me to spend more time with them. And so I got into your car. And that was big for me because don't get in strangers' cars. That's not safe. But I felt safe. And then I felt accompanied and I felt understood and seen. And we went and we had a great time shopping for yarn that we didn't need. Yeah. And then while we were there, we decided to start a knit along and we made bralettes.
We did.
Yeah, we did. I remember that. I remember giving you rights back too.
Yeah, that was how I knew that we were going to be friends, because not only did we live in the same neighborhood at the time, but we got in the car and you immediately started talking about the dog that lived in the house with you, and you just the joy in your voice when you were talking about this pup. I was like, this is a person I can be friends with.
Yeah. And that took maybe a good 6 months of us seeing each other every week.
And then
until we found the courage to say, I think I want to do something outside of this recurring activity.
It wasn't. It was because I came in October of 2019, or very end of September 2019.
Yeah. And I arrived a month later about it. I want to say
and then
November.
we locked down at the beginning of March. So it was 4 months. It was after the first lockdown, when we were living in neighborhoods wise that were pretty close.
That's
where
true.
we were like, okay, well, our bubbles are literally the people we live with.
Yeah.
And that's it. Do you want to go for walks? Okay, let's go for walks. And then we became friends. That kind of solidified it. Yeah. Because we were forced into interacting outside of the digital knit night that we had created.
Yeah.
That you had created.
Which actually, just speaking of online spaces, they were talking, this is another venue, place that people use to make friends, but it's also a risky one because you don't really know what you're going to get when you're online, right? Are you talking to an actual... is the person saying who they actually, are they being honest about who they are or what they're doing or whatever? You never, really know. I would want to hope that most people are honest, but
so
unfortunately
many people
you don't know which ones
on
aren't.
Instagram that I have been following forever, and I like want to reach out into their DMs and be friends with them because I think that they are really cool people, and I think that we'd click. But first of all, the impetus of doing that feels weird to me.
It
Like,
feels
that's
a little
true.
icky.
That's
to like
true.
reach out into somebody else's space and be like, be my friend. And on top of that, like on top of not wanting to inconvenience somebody else, it also feels, as you said, like not unsafe, but it feels like, is that the right way to do it?
It feels intrusive.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm intruding.
Yeah. But I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah.
But that's the
everything's
thing,
on
you
the
never
internet
know,
these
and then
days,
it depends on the online space we're talking about, right?
Yep.
Like during the pandemic, when we created that virtual knit night, that was
Yeah.
a great way to like for people to still like have this like knit night feel online. And so we had people joining from like the US and like other places.
That's so true.
But then there are other online spaces that are not as safe or niche or welcoming. So and you don't know until you try, and then you find out that this is not, and you get jaded essentially.
So I guess the bottom line is
Come to our in-person knit night.
come meet us. Come hang out with us. I guess the bottom line is making friends as an adult is hard because you can be taking all the recommendations and doing things quote unquote right and still not be able to find the people that you connect with. So if you feel the tingles and the little butterflies of friendship, you gotta take that leap and say, I'll get in your car and go to the yarn store. Stranger,
come! I have candy. You don't get it.
It's one of those things.
I should have bought candy on that day just for that. Or actually, instead of candy, I should have said, "Look, I have yarn."
You did though. You were like, "I will take you to the yarn place."
That's true.
And we were
That's true.
like,
I did.
It was Hansel and Gretel and the witch. No,
With
I'm
yarn.
joking.
And we were
With
like,
yarn.
All that to say, putting yourself out there is scary.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
and it like making yourself vulnerable in front of strangers is so scary.
It is very scary.
But it can have good things. Like good things come out of it.
I
Like,
mean, you
yes,
have to
there's
be willing
rejection,
to take the risk, but
Yeah.
also to what, like, like how far, because there's risk, and then there's like putting yourself in danger
Being
or in
safe,
dangerous
versus-
situations for the sake of, so you want the risk to be like,
Yeah.
I like to say, like, you want to take that one step outside of your comfort zone, not the whole, like, don't leap out, just one step
sure.
is enough for you to like, like that should be enough to introduce you to environments that are gonna hopefully introduce you to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a long-winded way to introduce ourselves. Hello.
I guess it just goes to show like how much we value the friendships that we have built between each other, the like having these community spaces available not just to us but to other people to create their own friendships and community.
Yeah.
And I hope that illuminates some of our personal values.
Like at the end of the day,
So-
I think what we're trying to do is also help others find what we found.
Yeah.
Because everybody should have that.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
The world would be a better place if people had
5.5 years of friendship right here.
Yeah.
If you can help it, don't knit alone. And speaking of knitting, what are you working on?
This is why it's a sometimes knitting podcast.
Yes. So I'm doing my second rocket tee.
Hell yeah!
With this
color.
beautiful. I don't know if you can kind of see it.
So pretty.
There you go. So it's a bit of a variegated. It's kind of like purple, some, I want to say
Grays, reds.
reddish
Yeah.
pink, and grays.
Fuchsia?
And yeah, I've already done the first one, but it didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted
All
it to.
three of us and another
So-
friend of ours made rocket tees last year.
So I'm trying again.
Mine ended up too big.
I gotta make another one. I
Mine
have
is because
yarn for another one.
I like something tugged, and
Oh,
so
no.
the entire thing, like it looks a little better now. It kind of
Okay,
fixed
fixed
it, but not enough. You can still see that there's a
There's
snag,
something unraveled.
so
yeah.
it's annoying me. So I'm just gonna make another one.
Okay.
I will still wear it, but like at least I'll know one of them doesn't have this stupid little tug.
So this is lace weight tencel.
Yes,
And you're
From-
holding it single?
single half. So it's 8 rows single,
8 rows double.
held double.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
you're
I did
making
with my
stripes.
previous one.
Yeah, so it kind of like it, and you don't really see it unless I go like really like.
You have to put your hand
see-through.
behind
You have
it a
to,
little
yeah.
bit.
Like I don't think you're gonna see it from here, but essentially, no, you're not gonna see it. I'd have to be like, even from here, I can't see it.
But it's like an intentional transparency.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when I wear it, you're gonna see it.
Yeah.
That's so cute. I really
So
like
looks
those
so
colors for
nice.
you.
I
What
gotta
about
cast
you?
on another one.
I'm working on my muscle bra again. I've made a couple of these hats, and they're just like
Great.
they're so simple to make, and they're so easy and mindless. It's one of my favorite TV knitting projects because I can just like sit down and chit chat or watch TV and not have to think about following a pattern. I love it. There's multiple similar hats out there, but this one I just have the pattern, so I keep making it over and over. Yeah, and it's in a locally produced yarn made by Céline from Cactus Yarns in Gatineau, here the neighboring city. And I love it. And I bought it because we were walking through a yarn
Festival. Twist festival.
and my friend Vanessa goes, "Oh my god, that yarn looks just like your hair." And at that time, it did look exactly like
Yeah,
my
that's
hair.
so true, though.
I think we have.
I mean, even now it kind of does.
I had to buy it.
I think
Look.
we have a photo somewhere of you holding the skein up to your head like
Yes,
this. and it's
yes,
like a
we
perfect
do.
Match.
Like my
I'm
hair
pretty
is
sure it's me who has it.
It's super faded, but like it was like a
It's-
little more green.
It's giving
and
Aurora
purple.
Borealis.
Yeah. I have to redo my hair before. I was gonna do
No,
it
do
today,
it
but
after.
I just
Do it
wanted
after
to
we come
sleep.
back.
Do it after we come back because the sun is going to
Yeah, it'll
damage
fade out.
that.
Yeah, well, you're right. Well, by the way, we're going on vacation to the sunny location, so I'm avoiding cutting my hair and dyeing my hair so that it doesn't get like
Yeah.
wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have an appointment like right after we come back.
Wait.
So then I'm making my hat so that I can still have colors on my head.
And what about you,
What about
Allie?
you?
I am, as I said at the top of the episode, I'm working through some of my whips. So I have this ball of like very slowly not variegating. It's like an ombre fade yarn that I'm just making some socks with to add into my
it
gift.
looks so good.
My gift box.
Is that a singles?
Yes. Yeah, it's okay. I have to say
non-plied.
it's not plied. I have the tag in here, but it is actually I think an 80-20, a 75-25 wool nylon blend.
Oh,
Oh, that's the
but-
one I gave you. That's
Yeah,
the one you-
I got this one in our yarn
that was
swap
mine.
from 2023. I saw the skein of yarn. I was like, I need to have it, and ironically, it was Carine who put it on the table. So.
That's so funny.
Well,
know.
this used to be hers. So, just goes to show.
our yarn stashes have become a tiny bit incestuous.
I feel
I love
like
it.
sometimes we pick yarn kind of like maybe your subconscious knows you're not going to use it, but your friend will.
Yeah. So they're not a perfect match. Like the color fades are just a little bit off.
Oh, I love
but
socks that are sisters, not twins.
Yeah.
But I love how they're working up, even though right now the section of yarn I'm working in is black. Great. Thanks.
Oh, God,
Thanks,
yes.
Yarn Ball.
So
So
cute.
tough.
But I love knitting socks because I've gotten to I made 18 pairs of socks last year. So I've gotten to
intense.
the point where I have memorized my personal favorite formula.
Yeah.
I know what the numbers are. I know what the length is. I know what my gauge is. And now I'm at the point where I can just cast on a pair of socks and just go. Like they're my perfect transit knitting. So when I flew to Vancouver over the holidays to visit my sister, I cast on the first one. And I got maybe 2/3 of the way through over the course of that holiday.
Yeah.
But as part of my just finish it January, I was like, we're going to finish these socks. They're going to sit in the gift basket until the next holiday season, whatever. But I'm going to finish them.
I really love it. I am interested, Meg.
Absolutely.
I'm
but they're singles, so
interested
it's
in figuring
weird.
out.
They're
like-
a bear to knit with. A single sock yarn.
What do you mean?
Like, it just I keep splitting it.
That's what I was gonna ask.
It's a bit frustrating. So it's because these were a transit project for so long, it
It's
wasn't
really
that big of a
tightly.
deal.
It's tightly spun though, but it's one single ply.
But yeah, when you're only working on it like 25 minutes in the morning on the bus, it wasn't quite as frustrating. It's when I was sitting down to work on it for longer stretches of time, where I was constantly catching the fibers, that's where it was getting frustrating. So if you're picking up a singles sock yarn, I would say don't make it a project that you have a tight deadline.
Yeah,
Give
don't
yourself
rush.
the chance to pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down.
I'm wondering if with wear it will felt quicker than
That's
plied
what I'm
yarn.
hoping. That's part of the reason why I knit these not to my size, but to the size of like my sister, her partner, my mom, because then those are people in my family who are incredibly knitworthy and who are very hard wearing on their socks. So if this is in fact a pair that felts, then that's a good thing.
It'll only make it like sturdier.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
Exactly. So
I've never thought about intentional felting as a design feature. But I think it's it's a really interesting way to think about it. Like, yeah, maybe if we intentionally make the heel in a single ply wool, it will felt with wear, and it'll be less likely that it'll develop holes.
So Lexi asks, how do you balance like the thickness of the yarn with not sweating and making the texture smooth enough so that they don't annoy you? I'm really scared of doing socks because my feet are sensitive. I am with you on that. This is one of the reasons why I don't like knitting socks as much.
Yeah.
So I actually have something to say about this.
Go on.
I am a person who, when I am at home, I'm perpetually barefoot. I never wear socks at home. Mm-hmm. So I actually have really thick calluses on the bottom of my feet. As a result, when I put socks on,
they don't bother you.
They don't bother me. However, I also do not live my life with any kind of sensory issues where that is a thing that I have to think about. So my experiences would be different from somebody who does, say, have sensory issues. And that is something that does need to be taken into consideration. Mm-hmm. One thing that I have seen recently, both on our Discord, online, is something called princess soles, where, okay, hold on. I'm not going to show you feet pics, but I am going to take off one of my socks to make this a bit more illustrate.
Let me
you know what?
For you.
I have a finished sock.
Oh, I love that for you. Okay.
Okay.
You took it out now. Let's
whatever. I have my sock off. So this is a sock that I've knit where it's all stockinette on the outside, right? Mm-hmm. This is a sock that I've knit where the stockinette's on the inside and the purl bumps are on the outside.
So you can't feel the seams.
So what I have heard of is called princess soles, where when you knit your sock, you knit however the pattern you want to for the leg, the heel, the top of the foot.
Genial.
But for the bottom of the foot, you knit it with the purl bumps facing out. So reverse stockinette, so that you end up with that flat texture on the inside.
That's the part that touches your skin.
And that's the part that people step on, and where a lot of people I'm not sure who it was who came up with this concept of princess soles, which in itself is a gender construct.
It's because of
name.
It's the Princess and the Pea.
Princess and the Pea, there we go. But I can understand how the purl bumps themselves, being that you can feel those ridges, would cause more of an issue
irritation
for people than that flat stockinette. So that's one thing that can be considered. As for how it feels against your foot, I would say just do some experimenting. Like, knit one sock and try it. Walk around your house with it on, see how you feel. Just make it like vanilla, where it's just plain, no texture. You might find that you're not a big fan of texture or cables or anything like that. So it really is a trial and error game. Yeah. I don't even know how many pairs of socks I made that didn't fit me properly, that were too tight, too big, whatever, before I finally settled on a recipe that I really like and now just do without thinking. Because, for example, one of the things I found really frustrating was, this is a heel flap and a gusset. So I separate the stitches, I knit this panel flat, I turn the heel, and then I pick up all the stitches around the edge of the gusset, and then I continue knitting in the tube.
Yeah.
This sock, I didn't do that. I started from the toe, I then got to where the heel is, I started doing regular increases, and then did a bunch of short rows and started doing decreases, right? So it was all one continuous piece of fabric, as opposed to, because you can see here with the color change, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I have found I don't like the feel of this short row heel. I don't like how it fits. I don't like how it sits. I don't like how it rubs. I find when I have this on, the sock turns on my foot. So by the end of the day, the heel will actually be on top of my foot. I find that so frustrating in my boots.
Socks do that for me.
Whereas when I have a heel flap sock, this sticks to my heel. This ain't moving. It might get a little bit of fabric
Sorry, my plant is getting too long.
As the fabric grows with wear, I might have a little bit of an excess underneath the ball of my foot, but it doesn't move. It just stays in place. Yeah. And so I have found through trial and error
that's the heel that works for you. This is the heel that works.
That this is the shape of toe that works for me. You just have to. I hate to say you just have to try, but you do. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
I don't even know how many pairs of socks before I came up with the right ones for me. I still have the ones that don't. Like these ones, they're not the most comfortable, but now they're house socks. I just wear them around the house. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're quite warm. I sleep in them sometimes when I'm sick, which is great because I have been sick this week, so I've been sleeping in them. But
I'm a person who can feel stitches and seams and fabric on my skin, on everything. And I really, I like Maria-Elise said, I was also a little bit afraid of wearing and making handmade socks because I thought I was going to be able to feel them. And the first pair that I ever made, I could. Like, actually, this is the first pair. Sorry,
That's
I
okay.
almost kicked you in the face.
That's all right.
This is the
can't
first
feel
pair
anything
that
in
I
my nose
ever
anyway.
made. And this has a short row. No, it has a fish lips heel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a short row heel. And the same thing happens to me with all commercial socks have this fish lips heel, and it rotates and it goes to the top of my foot. Yeah. What I found is my favorite heel is the integrated heel that is increases and decreases, so there are no seams that I can feel on the side of my ankle. That's what bothers me. But the more I wear handmade socks, the more tolerance I have for feeling the stitches on my my skin.
That's fair.
And I think there is something about training your sensitivity to raise the threshold a little bit. So I would encourage you to just make one as smoothly as possible, a vanilla sock. If you can't wear it on the Purl side, turn it inside out wearing on the
Stockinette side.
On the stockinette side and see how it feels. And maybe by doing that, you'll start to like train your sensitivity to tolerate different thicknesses of socks on your feet.
Fiber type is also a big thing that I'm seeing in the chat right now. Superwash merino, which is probably the most common type of sock yarn available both from commercial dyers and indie dyers because of its washability. That is incredibly soft. If you wanted to try different breeds of sheep, different animal fibers, based on their softness, like an alpaca sock, oh my god, it'll feel like butter on your feet, but like in a good way.
But like in a good way.
But that also comes with the cost of a more expensive fiber.
Yeah.
If you try a BFL or if you try a Cormo or a Rambouillet, that is going to be a little bit more textured against your skin. But with wear, that softens up and that felt and that becomes a really nice, sturdy base of sock yarn. So it really just comes down to trial and error. Don't be afraid to take the sock out and try a different pattern if you find you don't like what you've done.
I find that my favorite sock yarn is a superwash merino, like 75-25 with nylon. Yeah. I find that that's the softest, most comfortable one for me. And because it's not 100% wool, I don't feel like my feet get sweaty, which is very important.
Yeah.
Because the combination of heat and moisture is what felts wool.
Yeah.
And I find that when I wear the socks that I've made with 75-25 combination, my feet don't get extremely hot. That's important to me.
Yeah.
Also, I don't buy boots that are very tight on me. All my boots are at least a half size bigger.
Yeah, my
So if I'm wearing
physiotherapist has
chunkers?
indicated that I have been going through life wearing the wrong size shoes.
Oh no!
And so now I have to start wearing... I was buying shoes that fit my feet, but I have since learned that actually you do require space in your toe box so that you don't end up with like crunched up toast. So now that I have started buying shoes that are in the correct size for like foot ergonomics, I have found that wearing hand knit socks in them has been a lot more comfortable because with that extra little bit of space comes that extra little bit of air buffer, which means my feet are not overheating.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So.
Y'all, we've been talking for a long time. I think let's
finish
finish up with a little bit of inspiration. Okay. Get ready. An inspiration coming at ya.
So good.
All right.
So good.
Carine, what's been inspiring you today?
Well, today I actually need your help. In a way. So what's an inspiration to me is this freaking... Every time I go in my stash, I see these two and I go nuts. And I want to do something with them. This is from Malène Maison, which is a French-Canadian or Québécois dyer. I think it's a mom and daughter, I want to say.
Oh, these are beautiful. What is this? Finger and
duo
DK?
mère-fille, so mom and daughter. And this is, it's called Le Berger Australien. It's DK weight, and it's super baby alpaca and silk.
Can I place a
Super
little
bébé
recommendation.
alpaca.
Yes. So
Have you seen the pressed flowers? All of them.
Oh
All
my
of the
god, yes,
things.
the pressed flowers shawl and sweater.
I have
and
not.
kerchief.
I have seen nothing.
There's-
It's like
hold on,
8
hold
I
on.
am I am blind.
Hold on.
It's like 8-bit flowers.
Okay.
It's
so
mosaic
cute.
knitting. Do you only have those two skeins? Or do you
Yes,
have more?
but their website still carries both of these.
I've
coming in
never
hot with the
seen
The
images.
this.
only problem is this one would be a different dye
Color.
lot, which means that it may be a little, come off a little bit different. But this one
C'est
will
de la
probably
laine
be.
québécois.
Yes, c'est la laine québécoise. I think they're close to Quebec City, actually.
Oh.
Could be wrong.
Par le duo.
Sainte-Catherine de la Jacques Cartier.
Sainte-Catherine de la Jacques-Cartier.
Yeah.
Québec.
C'est très Québec. Sainte-Catherine de
Super
la Jacques
québécoise.
Cartier. Wow. Yeah, no, so it's probably some of the softest yarn I've ever felt in my life. Obviously, it's baby alpaca because I'm a slut for that. But it's also silk, So.
I'm gonna be a basic bitch and tell you, this is giving me perfect color block opportunity. If you were to try to make the half and half triangle shawl by Purl Soho, which essentially is one entire triangle in one color and an entire other triangle in another color, this would look so beautiful and it would be really lofty.
Okay.
Can I show you something?
It's about 400 yards.
Oh,
400
the
and
pressed
something.
flowers.
Oh, it is beautiful.
So cute.
This is the pressed flowers hat by Amy Christoffers.
Wow.
Beautiful.
This is from a series of patterns that this designer has. There is a hat. There is a cowl. There is socks. There's a cardigan. There's a pullover. There's a vest. There's
shawl.
the cutest little kerchief as well, which would also be so cute with this yarn.
Oh, I could make at least two of those accessories. 'Cause,
Right?
Like this is
Yeah.
enough.
It almost looks crochet. It's so cute.
It is
So cute. Okay,
this
like
one
send
I
me
think
this.
is done with DK yarn. I think the hat's done with sport yarn.
Yeah.
But anyway, as soon as you pulled those out, my brain immediately went to mosaic knitting.
Isn't it
Because I think the
nice?
two colors together would
know.
just pop.
For anybody who's
beautifully.
wondering the colors, so this is Berger Australien is the DK weight, and this is called Orchidée. This is Mauve Royal
Mauve.
purple, I guess, or Royal Mauve. So yeah, and they're both available on the website.
And they're so perfectly coordinated.
Sent them to you on Ravelry.
Oh my god! So yes, that's my
So inspiring for
inspiration,
sure.
and also maybe the color purple. I feel like purple is my
Yeah,
vibe
do you
today.
want to maybe...
Fashion show. Fashion
So this is
show.
the sweater I was working on last time we were live, and this skirt is one I made. It's actually my first ever sewed skirt.
I love it. It has
I am so proud of myself.
I'm proud of you, buddy.
It's the first sewed garment I can wear outside of the house and not feel like it's messed up, and
Yeah.
like people can look at it and go like, this looks like,
Nice.
this looks nice. Yes, very much.
I
That's
love
what matters.
that. I'm
So
proud
yeah,
of you.
purple, and even what I'm making right now has purple in
I
it.
love
So
it.
clearly purple is my inspiration.
What's your favorite color?
Actually, it's not purple, it's what you're wearing.
It's blue.
It's blue, yeah.
Actually, I
never
knew
would've
that. I
guessed.
knew the answer to that question.
I never would have
I
guessed.
was setting you up for that.
Well done, buddy.
What about you? What's
My-
your
okay.
inspiration?
One guess what my inspiration is.
Mohair. It's so beautiful. It doesn't transfer very much on camera,
Hold
but
on.
Ali is currently Cookie Monster.
Can you see the
It's
fuzz?
Cookie Monster with
The
fuzz.
halo?
the fuzz?
So this is the Paloma sweater by Espace Tricot. It's got this beautiful twisted rib detailing down the sleeve. I love it so much. This is the sweater that I knit. It was my holiday 2023 sweater.
Love it.
It's so nice. I want to make this.
It's actually gotten to the point where I'll wear it to work, and like two of my coworkers will be like, "Oh, you're wearing my favorite sweater."
Oh, it's your favorite sweater now, is it?
I love it so much. It's like the perfect lightweight but really incredibly warm garment because it's a strand of fingering weight wool
Yeah.
with a strand of mohair.
Yes.
So my inspiration right now is that combination. I am, as I said at the top of the episode, a slut for fuzzy knits. I don't like fuzzy blankets. I don't like fuzzy pillows. I don't like fuzzy socks. I fucking love fuzzy sweaters.
You're just like mohair all day.
All day, every day, hugging
drowning in it.
I mean,
And
there's something special
Mohair
about
don't
being,
care.
like, it feels extra fluffy and extra cozy whenever you wear like that
so
fuzz,
much.
even if it's on the outside.
Yeah.
So there have been a lot of people in my Instagram feed lately who have been making either the doppio sweater or the lento sweater or really any combination of like wool and mohair or like wool and alpaca weight garments. And so I am just like holding on by the edge of my fingernails until February 1st until I inevitably cast on one of these chunkier fuzzy sweaters that I want more of in my wardrobe. Because I love it so much, and it knit up so fast because the combination of the two strands together is like a DK weight.
Yeah.
So for example,
you use bigger needles.
DK for the win.
So for example, the doppio sweater, which is 2 strands of fingering plus a mohair, I think is like works up to a worsted weight gauge. So I've seen a bunch of people knitting that, and I have a quantity of mohair in my stash that I purchased intentionally to make one of these like big fuzzy sweaters. So I'm just like, oh, I just want a big fuzzy sweater. That's what I'm inspired by. I just want more of them.
I love it.
It helps that I fell asleep in this the other day, and when I woke up, I was like all happy and roasty toasty, and Bilbo agrees. He's like, yes, she's so warm, I had to move away from her. So anyway,
Maggie says you all have to wear these on
on
the
February
February
8th.
8th at the knitting movie event.
Yes! I hope we can see some of y'all there.
Yes.
February
Yes.
8th at the Mayfair Theatre. We're having a crafternoon, movie afternoon. So bring your projects to the movies. We're going to keep the lights on and watch a film and then hang out, eat
Bring
snacks.
snacks. Yeah.
It's going to be great. And then we're going to do it again in May.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're just
exciting.
locking down the details for our next one.
And for everyone who's ever been told that this is not a fashion show, I can completely assure
it
you,
is.
February 8th
We wanna
is
see
a
them.
fashion show. We want to see your knits.
Yeah, we do. We want to see it and like go crazy about everything.
Well, what's inspiring you?
Honestly, I don't have it on me, but I have not been feeling very inspired lately. Like over the last 2 weeks, I've just had like, I don't know, a lot of like mental space has been taken up by my work and other commitments. But last night when we were watching Wicked with a friend, I picked out of the bottom of that basket right there my first ever sock blank. Hand-dyed sock blank that I got from Full Moon Fibers. They're an Ontario-based yarn dyeing producers, and I had never worked from a sock blend before.
They're really fun.
And it's magical to pull a little bit at a time from the sock blank and seeing the colors interact in a completely different way when it's worked in actually knitting. So I'm excited to see how this new pair of socks that I casted on works out with the sock blank, and I feel like it gave me a little burst of additional inspiration that I had been lacking. So yeah, I'll post a picture of it on Instagram.
Yeah, it's
so
really
you
nice.
can
For those of you who don't know, a sock blank is when you get a machine
Knitted.
knitting machine. So you take sock weight yarn and you just basically have a panel created on a knitting machine, and then that panel is dyed while it's already knit.
Yeah.
And then you then undo it so that you can knit your thing, and you end up with like a mystery. I mean, not a mystery because you know what colors are on the panel, but it speckles differently
You
because
don't know how it's gonna look when it's knit up.
yeah, because a flat panel will look different than like
Yeah.
a knitted tube. So
And
it's
when
really
you
fun.
get when I got the sock blank, I was attracted to it because it looked like tie dye, and I don't have any tie dye in my wardrobe, but that's like it's a style that I really like because
Yeah,
it
it's
feels
fun.
super like freeing and creative. So I love the idea of someone at Full Moon Fibers going like, I just want to go crazy with the paints, and they did, and then I bought it, and it's bringing me a lot of joy. Megan says that she's also been kind of languishing in the inspiration station, and I'm right there with you. Sometimes I just need a little extra pick-me-up.
Meg, have you finished Onyx Storm?
Don't say it. No, I mean, yeah, no spoilers though. I haven't finished it.
Can't believe Everyone is on Onyx Storm, and I'm still on like
take
the
this
first
offline.
half.
We'll
of,
take this offline.
I'm still in the first half of Fourth Wing.
I'm so close, though. I'm like halfway through.
Why is
I
this
did it.
book so long?
Guys, I read it in one sitting on Tuesday. I got 4 chapters in at like midnight before the cough syrup kicked in and I was asleep. And then since the book launch on Monday. Yes, I finished it. I finished it on Tuesday, 10:37 p.m. I closed the back and I went, okay, time for bed now. It was really good though.
Yeah, no, I can be a really fast reader, but this one I'm actually
Going slow to
going slow because I know the next one is in freaking 3 years.
She hasn't started writing it yet, Rebecca Yarros.
Yeah, so she says it's going to take at least 2 years. So
No, I'm 80 pages in because I had to finish 2 other books.
that's okay.
That's
It's
fine,
okay.
it's fine,
I'm here
it's fine,
with
don't worry
you.
about it.
I'm not that far ahead. So
I feel like with the three of us can agree, Rebecca Yarros is a big inspiration for us right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Tell me
But
more
also,
about
I'm not
the
happy.
dragons.
If I could knit dragon riding leathers, I would, but that seems a little outside of my skill set.
I just want dragons in my life. That's all I have to say.
Yeah,
Me too.
I want
I want to be in the world where
I
there's
want to
dragons.
cuddle a dragon. I want to share
I
a
wanna ride
horde
one.
with a dragon.
Yep.
Where I have like my yarn corner, and then the dragon can have their shinies and their gold.
I'm still 100 books behind in my TBR. Amen. Alexi, I just recently moved house and literally every single person in my life was like, you have how many books? And you haven't read any of them?
I was
No,
impressed.
you read
honestly.
some of them.
Yeah, well, here's the
Like
thing.
how-
I'm
isn't it
very,
half-half or something?
No. I'm very particular about only keeping books that I would reread.
Oh, okay.
And when I finish a book, if I don't think I'll ever reread it, I will pass it on to a friend, or I will
Which is
donate it,
fair.
or I will, I'll give it a second, give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my collection of red books is very small in comparison to my TBR.
Because
which
a lot of the reds have departed.
Yeah, they get
Okay.
passed on. So my TBR is in the hundreds as well, Lexi. So I feel that. I feel that.
I'm the opposite.
Great suggestion from Duska. Crochet a dragon.
Oh!
And actually, fun fact, I did, when I was in university, knit a couple of tiny dragons. No, they were crochet, and they were some of my most precious creations.
Dragon hat for Bilbo.
Oh my god, yes! A dragon head for Bilbo. A whole freaking dragon cat costume. You could have the whole tail. Like the whole, top with the
Technically, wouldn't he be a wyvern because he has 4 paws?
tail.
I'm just saying.
No. Wyverns have the 2 legs, and dragons have 4.
4, yeah.
Okay, so he would be a dragon.
He would be a dragon.
There we go.
Yeah.
Bilbo the dragon. Bilbo the dragon.
Which is hilarious because of who he's named after.
Yeah.
I know. Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, it would be really nice.
We'd call him Smaug. We'd nickname him Smaug.
We can.
Smaug.
Little
Okay, and I think with that little roundup of knitspiration, we can say adieu. Not adieu, but
See you
Auf
later.
Wiedersehen.
A
See
la
you later.
prochaine.
A la prochaine, yeah.
hasta la próxima.
Ciao.
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 See you next time. Thank you for coming. We are so happy that you're here. What was that one?
That's in Japanese. For the never person, there's nobody who's gonna listen.
What a way to steal our thunder, bud.
It's the only one I have, okay, guys?
Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. We're gonna record another episode so that we can bring you some of our pearls of wisdom later this month. And fresh new year for Purl Perspectives.
We will most likely be going live again in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This needs confirmation from our schedules, but we'll most likely be going live again in 2 weeks, and then the 2 weeks after that will be our Pearls of Wisdom episode.
Correcto.
We'll be on vacation.
That's right.
So, have a great time and see you next time.
Bye.